Top of the morning, and thanks for getting your day started with me. Thanks for sharing your time, your coffee. We have a Tuesday morning with a great rest of your week. Boy, yesterday was an eye-opening experience for me over at the Good Shepherd Warming Shelter, and so nice to chat with Tess Taylor over there and Nicholas Storelli Castro, and got a chance to chat with a few homeless folks off the air yesterday, and they actually asked me if they could share the microphone sometime and share their story. But another brutally cold night last night, down into the single digits. In some areas, I believed we bottomed out around 0 and maybe even like -1, but another frigid night last night. Here's the good news. It already seems warmer this morning. I don't know if isn't it funny how like when you get a snap and then it gets into like the 20s, it's like, this feels so nice. We have some sunshine, we have some clouds, and late afternoon highs today around 28 degrees. That's the beginning of this warming trend that we've been telling you about. Tonight looks like, really? 21? Wow. Balmy. Cloudy skies. And then tomorrow, here we go. Is this the January thaw coming early? Because the polar vortex hit early in early December? I don't know, but 39 degrees tomorrow with cloudy skies. And by Thursday, is this real? 43? Not to get excited here, but this is like, I love this. 43 on Thursday, and by Friday, bathing suit weather. 51 degrees. Some of us are going to be out tanning outdoors in the backyard, poolside maybe. 51 on Friday. So here's the thing. This warm-up's not going to last long, though. As I think most of you probably already know, once we get into the weekend, it starts going back down, and by next week, it is more seasonable. I would say more normal, 20s for next week, which is Christmas. I know. Have you even started the Christmas shopping yet? Friday night, I'll be at Montpelier Mazda Volkswagen. Santa Claus and the Missus are coming to town. I'm not sure if the Grinch is going to be there as well, but apparently preparations have been made at the Knapp Airport for the arrival of Santa's sleigh on Friday, and he will be chauffeured directly from the Knapp Airport to Montpelier Mazda and Volkswagen, where he'll be giving out candy canes and cookies and hot cocoa and getting the kids all sugared up. And we're going to have a lot of fun. It's going to be great. Friday night, I'll be there. I think it starts at 4 p.m., goes till 6 p.m. Everyone's welcome. Everything's free. Also this weekend, Barry Elks on Saturday has their falling into the holidays. The VFW has their big breakfast on Saturday morning, which is going to be incredible. And being that it is Tuesday, I always like to remind people that there's the Tuesday night dinner at the Barry American Legion. Dine in or take out, your choice. It's just $12. It starts at 5:30. Please order ahead if you can. Like now. 479-9058. I know it was Chicken Alfredo last time. Not sure what it is this time, but they do a great job. The American Legion, Post 10, right here in the Granite City. And keep an eye on the World, because they always post this, and they always post what's on the menu as well. This morning, we are going to get real, and we're going to get uncomfortable, and we're going to be pretty transparent. And we're going to talk about things that are going to hit a nerve with many people and ruffle feathers, I'm sure. People are, I want to preface by saying people are going to react differently to what we're going to talk about this morning. And you're probably going to have an opinion on this. And I think many of us would admit that with subject matters like children and sex offenders, it hits a nerve with pretty much everybody. And everyone's got a thought on this. And everyone has an opinion and a feeling, and they're varied. Before we go any further, please try to be as respectful as you can with your comments to others, and honestly, to yourself. Think before you type. Think before you respond or react. Every story, every situation in Vermont and far beyond that involves the vulnerability of children with regard to sex offenders and abuse, whether it be sexual or otherwise, is unique and is different. No two are the same. What we're going to talk about this morning is not necessarily any, and we may brush on it, but we're not going to take a deep dive on any specific case. My intention is not to blow the whistle on any individual, or certainly any case here in Vermont that is still active, still pending. The last thing I'm going to do is compromise myself or any of these cases. So, with that said, I have an individual with me this morning on the couch who is brave enough to come in here and shed a little bit of light on this. I think it would be the responsible thing to do to have some basic parameters in place, and that's what we've done. Like I said, we're not going to, the intention here is not to air out any particular story in great depth. Rather to shed light on what we as Vermonters are doing to protect children and what our laws are doing or not doing to protect children in our state. And I think it would be fair to say that, at least based on what I've read, what I've seen, what I've heard, what I've chatted with people over the decades, that Vermont is too lackadaisical in many departments. That there's too much slapping on the wrist. There's too much catch and release that's going on in all areas, a lot of areas. Crime as a whole, if you want to go up 40,000 feet. What hits a nerve with me is, in particular, children and the elderly. Those are two areas that are hot buttons for me, personally. I want to thank Laura Daly for coming in here and for being brave enough to come on camera and microphone and share your take on this subject. It's super sensitive stuff, man. And like I let off this morning, Laura, not everybody is going to agree with everything that comes out of my mouth or yours with regard to this. There's part of me that wants to be a little careful here, but not too careful. Because the bottom line is, in the end, this is about our children. In the end. That's where the buck stops, right there. And anyone in this state or anywhere listening who doesn't see the value and the importance, the critical importance of putting our kids first and protecting our kids' safety above all other things, even above education, above everything, that doesn't see that as the number one most important priority, I don't know what planet they're living on, but I don't want to go anywhere near their planet.
I agree.
Because that's crazy. That's crazy. Your intentions are good. And I have vetted you enough, I feel, to know that your intentions are good and that you're not some vigilante with a chip on her shoulder who's looking to just go around and blow whistles here.
Correct.
Is that accurate?
Absolutely.
You have your own story.
I do.
You're already being thanked for coming on here by quite a few people.
Yep. Those are my people.
Yeah. And listen, there's plenty that are watching and listening this morning who don't know Laura Daly. And they don't know your story, your personal story. This is a wicked hot button for you.
Yep.
You have your own experiences, your own, like I said, your own story that goes to this. And I don't think we're going to necessarily get on that on-ramp and drive down that road today. I think the main reason, and maybe we can someday, I don't know. We'll have that conversation off the air about whether or not we'll do that. But I think your main intention today is to get the attention of lawmakers, get the attention of the Vermont legislators that are getting ready to begin a new session to say, what do we have in place right now? Is it effective? Is it working? And if not, what can we do to push this subject higher up on the list?
Yes.
I know there's a lot of stuff going on. I know we've got a lot of things to fix, a lot of things to work out. I already know. We all know what they are. I mean, I talk about housing all the time, affordability. The list goes on. It's a mile long. This is one that you and I both feel cannot be dusted under the rug. It's wicked uncomfortable to talk about. It's uncomfortable for legislators to talk about. But it's a conversation that has to be had. And we can't just rely on one newspaper or two or one podcast to bring this subject to light. We've got to do more. We, you, us, others watching and listening are relying on others the populace to get involved. One or two people actively pushing this isn't going to do it. We need a lot of people to step up and, at the absolute least, sign a petition saying we need to bring awareness to this. We need to do more in our state to keep kids safe.
Absolutely.
What say you about all this?
So, hi everybody. So,
I know I just like took a huge deep breath, but I'm passionate about this too.
absolutely, and I'm glad. So I'm Laura Daly, and I recently found out because of a situation that there is no set rules that says that sex offenders can't be on school grounds, public property. There in Vermont, there's also no rules that say they can't live within a certain distance of a school or childcare. And there are 30 states that do have those rules in place.
Wow. 33.
33.
Vermont is not one of them.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes, and in fact, one of the first things I said to you was to Google the best place to live if you are a sex offender, and one of the first states to pop up was Vermont.
I saw that.
Yep, and I'd love for others to do that too, because it's eye-opening. It really is.
The Hardwick Gazette just posted an article December 9th, which is you're all over it. I'm going to read the front of it, and I'll put it in the link here as well. Actually, I'll do that right now before I forget, so people can see this and read. But the article, and I've got it in the links right now, says parents and others in the greater Plainfield-Marshfield area have taken issue with the recent presence of a registered sex offender on school properties, taking action by circulating a petition addressed to Vermont lawmakers. The petition, authored by area advocate Laura Daly, states, quote, "In Vermont, an alarming scenario unfolds as a convicted sex offender, previously a school bus driver, continues to have access to public school properties. This offender was released early, and because his current girlfriend's child attends the school, he's allowed to pick up the child and be present on school grounds. To make matters worse, some of his victims who attended the same school have encountered him there, causing further trauma to individuals already gravely affected by his actions. The court and his probation officer maintain he has changed, but the horrific memories and emotional scars he inflicted linger, severely impacting his victims." This is, when I read about something like this, to me, this isn't about it's just not about who this individual is today. And I try to approach the microphone and my platform here at Aired Out first and foremost with taking a deep breath, taking a step back, thinking about things from a broader perspective instead of reacting quickly, emotionally, and try to go forward with empathy first. That's why I say with respect. I try to put myself in others' shoes as much as possible. I try to. May not be great at it in some instances, but at least I try to. And I say to myself, what if that were you? What if you changed and became a good person, a productive member of your society, a good person again? What would you be okay? I say to myself, would you be okay if even years and years down the road you just simply couldn't go to the school? You just simply couldn't be a bus driver again, or whatever. You just simply weren't allowed on the property. It's like, that's what it is. That's what it comes with, and unfortunately, that's how you've got to live the rest of your life. And it sucks, but what happened, and you just can't really dodge any of these things anymore. You need to. I'm not saying that you should spend the rest of your life, suffering gravely. But that's one of the conditions where you just, it's not negotiable. You're just simply not able to go on a school property.
Correct.
Or live next to a school. Sorry.
The victims deal with it every day for the rest of their lives, and I know this because I am one. So I deal with PTSD. I deal with anxiety. I deal with being afraid of being in public and afraid that I might see him somewhere, or something could happen. It's a constant battle in my own head, and it impacts me every day of my life. And so I believe it should impact the offenders as well. I don't think that you get off because you've been a good boy for a couple of years. I don't think that that's how that works. If you made the choice to take that step and hurt a child, then you deserve to deal with it the rest of your life, just like the victims.
Well said. Yeah, I mean, the comments that are coming in this morning are tremendous. The one I just saw: most adults can't process seeing or hearing the voice of their abuser. How do you think these children feel at their school?
Yeah.
Seeing or hearing.
Absolutely. I mean, when I got the phone call that the person that I had to deal with this with was being released, it put me in the house for 3 years. I didn't leave home. I was so afraid that I would see him. And I had to rebuild myself from the ground up because of what it took. And I'm talking intensive therapy, intensive inpatient, outpatient, hospitalization throughout my entire life. I look at my peers now. I see people that I was in school with that I could have been at the same level educationally, but because of what was going on at home, I didn't rise to that. So now I've gone to college as an adult. I'm stacking up the degrees now. I'm being successful now, but there was a whole lot of my life that I didn't have that because I was so busy dealing with all of this that, it set me far behind. And I'll never catch up fully, I don't think. But this is a way that I can possibly help another kid not have to deal with that, not have to play catch up the rest of their lives, not be able to overcome it and end up in their house for the rest of their lives or worse.
How old were you when this all started in your life?
We estimate about 2 years old, and it went on until just before I was 14. And then I got pregnant and had my first child at 15. Not with this person, obviously, with someone else, but it was a means to get away from that. It was, if we have a child right now, then I'll be out of home. I'll be able to have my own place, and no one can ever do anything to me again.
If he was rehabilitated and saw things through the eyes of the victim, wouldn't you make a conscious effort to stay away so as to not harm them further? That was a question that was just posted in the comments.
That's a very good question. And
Very
actually,
good.
That might be my daughter that actually said it.
Okay.
Yep.
But it's a damn good question.
It sure is. It sure is. I mean, that's a very, very good point. If they really, truly felt sorry, wouldn't they do everything they could to not be put in a position where they could further traumatize somebody?
Yeah. So when did this all, how old are you now?
45.
When did this all come to kind of a head? When are you still dealing with it now?
No.
Okay.
I was 20 years old, and I ran into the person in public, and he actually asked me about my kids, and it floored me. And then I heard some things about him possibly working with some school stuff, and I was like, this isn't going to happen if I can do anything about it. And so I went and reported it, and I found out actually my 21st birthday, which was 3 months ahead, would have been the statute of limitations on reporting it. So I was 3 months before the statute of limitations. And we filed charges. There was a whole investigation. It was extremely difficult. And he was convicted, and he's on the registry today.
So you had to go back and unearth all of this.
Yeah, I
Back
did.
right into your head, your heart, your soul, everything.
Yeah, and I had to prove my word against his because there was no proof. There was no videos back then. There was no audio. It was my word against his. So I had to physically go there and convince him to tell the truth, and I did. And it was really hard. Twice, actually, I had to go there. And I did, and I was able to prove it, and it was very hard. And even after that, though, even after having that victory, having him locked up, having, I say it like victory, but it wasn't a victory. It was just I don't know, feeling of victory, but it wasn't really victory because he's still out there and still able to do the same things. But at that point in time, I felt like there was a victory, but then it felt like it was completely starting over again when he got out. It was like, okay, what did I even do that for? Now I'm a target. And that's how it's felt for years. And I had to empower myself. I can protect myself. I have people that love me. I have people that help protect me. But it still doesn't stop those thoughts in the middle of the night, or what was that sound? Or I remember sleepless nights for years, up at night looking out the windows constantly. Is there somebody coming here? Moving to a place that I had a P.O. box address so nobody could find my physical address by looking me up or whatever, and just constant fear for a long time until I took charge of my own head and started dealing with it. And this is something all these people are going to have to go through. And the other thing is, one of the major issues I see is that when there's a family involved, like this situation with Plainfield, when there's somebody who has a wife and children, and then that situation doesn't work out, this person gets in trouble for these kind of things, that wife and children don't automatically get a restraining order. They don't automatically get protections because they're not considered necessarily this person's victim. So even though they are collateral damage. They have to go through the rest of their lives. This person built their life with somebody that they thought was going to be their spouse. In this case, in many cases. And now they have to live that life. They have to live with that stigma. These kids, this is their dad. Many cases. There's many cases. And there's a lot more victims than just the child that was abused in a lot of the cases. And we all have to live with it. And why can't we stop it before it happens? Why can't we limit their access to children? I think about things like drugs. People say that the best way to get away from your habits are to get yourself away from places that trigger you. So things like neighborhoods that have people selling heroin. You don't want to live there if you don't want those same things. Why can't we take these people away from their triggers? Why can't we lower the possibility of that at least? At this point, you could live next door to a school and watch out your window and not be breaking the law and be on the registry. That is not okay.
No.
That is not okay. There has to be protections. We know we have to take care of our children. We have to watch out for them, but we could use some freaking help.
Amen, sister. Why do you think, and I ask everyone watching or listening this morning, why do you think that this is the case in Vermont? I'm looking for someone to not just say, well, because our freaking legislators have their heads in their asses. I'm looking for something a little bit more than that. Why is this not as high as it could and should be on the priority list for actually drawing up a bill and implementing it? Why?
There's a lot of things that people cite as challenges to this, like disproportionately impacting the ability for somebody who's on the registry to find housing. So, like, if they can't live near a school, then they might be forced into a worse neighborhood and not be able to have a quality of life everybody else could have after they've served their time. And it may impact their ability to get to services and things like that. But if you look at Vermont, we don't have a school on every corner. We don't. No town has multiple schools anymore. Maybe back in the day when there was little schoolhouses. But now we are consolidating. There is not a lot of places that this would impact. But the places that it would impact are huge.
Yeah.
I mean, Calais, we have one small school. If there was a restriction of 500 feet, I think that would impact 3-4 houses.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
It's not too much to ask.
No, and no, it just doesn't seem like it is. And it's like, if you have to go through the rest of your life with these parameters, and some of them might be somewhat detrimental to you, public transportation or wherever it is, where you live, it's out that you have to live farther away than you want to be. Oh, freaking well.
Yeah, you made your bed. That's my opinion.
Yeah. I'm going to put the link here for the petition that you drew up through change.org. I'm going to put the link here in the comments right now. And I'm just going to be really honest with you.
Yep.
Okay? How many signatures do you have on this petition right now?
When we came in this morning, there was 287.
That's horseshit.
Yep.
Sorry. That sucks. In my opinion.
Yeah.
287. Wow. Is that sad? I'm putting it in the link right now.
Yeah, just sharing. Just sharing this petition.
That's disgusting.
And this story, I've had people from all over the state come forward and say, I'm fighting this battle. I'm fighting this battle. I'm doing this. I'm doing this. They're all alone because we're not coming together. If we came together and had a united voice, I feel like there'd be a lot more strength behind this.
Yeah. What's the petition is basically, it says, I'll put the text. It's kind of long, but I'll put the text of the petition in the comments here so folks can read it. I don't think what it's necessarily saying is that it's the goal of anyone to inflict any harm on these offenders, but rather to to put some real parameters in place to protect children, not just physically protect them, but emotionally protect them. We had comments, when you see or hear the voice of someone who has caused you harm in the past. Could be sexual, maybe not sexual. That's permanent damage. Your brain is firing and wiring those neurons, and that creates real anxiety and trauma for so many of us of all ages.
Yeah.
Not just kids.
Yep. I mean, I remember every encounter in my entire life that I've ever had with this person as an adult. There's maybe been 5 since I was an adult.
Yeah.
Just in the community, random. And I remember every single one of them. I don't do that for anybody else. There's no one else I can think of in my life that I remember every single encounter with.
Some folks are asking, where do we sign the petition? It's right there in the comments. I'm dropping it again. There it is.
I just saw a comment, if you're convicted from stealing from Walmart, then you're never allowed in a Walmart again. Very, very good point.
I missed that comment.
Yeah.
I have a lot of reading to go back and do.
There's a lot of good ones.
But wow.
Yeah.
So true.
But we also got to remember, this is mostly a learned behavior. So most of these people that are offending have also been offended against. And that's something else that weighs on me, because I feel for the victims. And sometimes the victims are also the person who abused. The problem is they did not get the help they needed when it happened. They did not get the executive function skills to be able to control themselves, to be able to deal with their impulses, to be able to work through the sexual deviance that they've learned from somebody else who was in a position of power over them. It's really hard because you want to feel for them. You want that empathy for them too. But it's also, it's that person.
Yeah.
It's hard.
This guy in this story in the Hardwick Gazette was convicted of sexual assault of a victim under age 16 and human trafficking. Sentenced to 12 and a half to 25 years. All but 7 years suspended. Released early. Serving right around 5 years.
Yeah.
Just over 5 years. Out. First conviction on a human trafficking charge in Washington County. The article reads on to say, according to the Vermont Crime Information Center, the state of Vermont places no restrictions on sex offenders once they have completed their supervision with the Department of Corrections. Notably, inclusion on the Vermont Sex Offender Registry does not automatically come with a requirement to proactively notify members of the public. In short, restraints are legally able to reside near schools and daycares, cohabitate, I should say, with children and be on school properties unless prohibited by a judge in their parole conditions. The PO. Did you speak with the PO?
No, but someone else that I spoke to directly called them when they saw them on the property, and that's what they were advised.
The PO said what?
Said that there was no restriction. There was nothing anybody could do. And I definitely want to make sure people know the school is not at fault either. The school's hands are tied. They can't impose restrictions that aren't imposed by the law just because they don't want them there. And that's scary. And they can live in homes with people that have children under 18. Somebody somewhere decides what their risk factors are and says, well, this is not their type, so they're okay here. And who are these people making these decisions? Are they educated? Are they victims? Do they know? Did they read a book? You know?
There you go. You're quoted in this article saying the safety and mental well-being of our children must be prioritized over leniencies granted to those with a history of such grievous crimes. It's imperative that the state of Vermont takes robust action to mitigate the risk and trauma inflicted on the young minds and families within our communities. This petition calls for the implementation of strict policies which ban all convicted sex offenders from entering public school properties under any circumstances. Additionally, we seek to prohibit these individuals from residing in homes where minors under 18 are present. These measures are critical to safeguarding our children and ensuring that their educational environments remain secure and supportive.
Yes.
Why is this, though? It's like I go back to this. Why is this not a no-brainer under the Golden Dome?
Right.
In Montpelier? Are there any bills anywhere?
I haven't seen anything about this. All I see is more articles about people getting arrested for it. That's all I see. I don't see any action about changing things.
Something's got to be done.
Absolutely. These people need counseling for sure. And we've learned that if they don't want counseling and they're sentenced, they don't have to complete their therapy. They can do their full time, max out, and leave without going through the programming. They don't have to.
Really?
Yeah. Yes. That's what happened in my case. And
really,
if they don't want to take responsibility, if they cannot see what they did was wrong, they can just do extra time and walk away.
There's so much gray area. And, Faith brings up a point. No matter how much, no matter how low risk the offender is, there's still a risk.
Absolutely.
And that's the key right there. So much of this is, and as I said, I let off this morning saying, everyone's story is unique. Everyone has their own unique experience and story. And so much of this is subjective. The bottom line is, I'm so sorry, but once you get that stamp, you got to carry it with you.
You do.
And there's just certain things, and they may be a huge pain in the ass, but there's just certain things you're not going to be able to do.
Well, I mean,
and Vermont's not fooling around anymore, so if you have a problem with it, get the hell out of Vermont.
Agreed.
But we're not saying that, though. We're not saying that in this state.
We are, but the state is not.
The state is not saying that.
On the conditions of release form that the court gives all of the people that have been arrested and released onto probation or community justice or whatever their situation, there's those automatic conditions that everybody knows. You cannot do drugs and alcohol, and you cannot own a firearm. Those are the two things that are a permanent part of that form. Everything else is a checkbox where you write it in. If that's not written in, if there's not conditions, don't go near school, leave kids alone. If there's not conditions that are written in for these folks, then there is too much gray area. It should be permanently on. Anyone who has been sentenced to the sex offender registry should have that condition permanently, all the time, on that form.
What are you going to do? And what do you say to the people that are watching and listening right now to help you with your intent, your, for lack of a better term, your mission? to really get this aired out and to put something more than just a petition with 287 signatures on it, which I'm asking you, please sign this petition. It's in the comments. I'll put it in again. Please sign it. But you have so many people watching right now. What do you need them to do? What I would like you to do is you're already doing so much legwork, but let's get the names of and emails and phone numbers of some legislators here
Absolutely.
that can affect real change. They're the ones that when they put the pen to the paper, shit gets done. I'm asking you for those names. I'll put that all over my platform.
Yep.
But what do you need people to do? At the very least, sign this petition.
Yes, sign
What
the
else?
petition. When we have that information for contact, I'd love it if people would email, call, leave messages for the legislature. And also, eventually, there's going to be a gathering of some kind at the State House. I'm going to rally and ask for everybody I can to help share the information, pull together, show up there in force. It needs to be visible and in their face so that they can't ignore it. If we're on the corner, if we're sharing it on social media, I see people protesting different things all the time. If you are holding a sign that says something about change the law, that's one way to help. I mean, just sharing it, getting the word out, talking about it. This is what has to happen. People are afraid to talk about it. It's a taboo subject. We want to pretend that it's not something that's really in our faces, but it is.
I just dropped the link again for the petition. There's so many comments coming in, it's getting lost. So I'm going to do it again. I want to make sure. I mean, I've posted this link probably a half dozen times now in the comments. I want to make sure everyone sees it.
Yeah. Yep. And when you sign that, I get a list of the people that signed it. I don't know if I'll be able to find a way to contact everybody that signed it, but I would love to rally as many folks as I can when the time comes to show up in force.
We just got a comment here, a question. If the state does nothing, can towns have ordinances to restrict access to school, town parks, etc.?
Absolutely. I believe St. Albans actually has, I'm not 100% sure that it's St. Albans, but I believe it is, has a town ordinance that states something like that about people that are on the registry can't be on the school property. So towns, I believe, can enact something, but it's hard to enforce local ordinances because there's not a local police force in a lot of these small towns. So though it is an effort and it would be recognized and it'd probably be a good first step, I don't think that it would get the attention that a statewide state law will get, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I have a few people that are saying they can't find it, but I'm dropping it in the comments here. Can y'all please just let me know that you can see this? Because, I mean, I'm like repeatedly putting it in the comments here. It's through change.org.
Sure is.
John Miller says you should ask Tom Lozon to come in and discuss his charter change. Maybe council should take it up again.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. And he's got the link in there, too. I appreciate that. All right. We got a few people saying they can see it. All right. That's good. All right. Faith saying she's seeing it for the first time. Yes. All right. Please keep the comments coming that you can see this petition and that you can sign this petition. This is a lady who's... And as I said, when I kind of vetted you over the last couple of weeks, I got a strong impression that you are not just some keyboard warrior looking to create drama from the comfort of your home. That you are someone who has the intention of creating real change, positive change, in the end, for our children.
Absolutely. I have 5 grandchildren, 5 grandbabies, and all of them are in school right now, or almost. And I think about their future every day and how they're going to be impacted by the way that Vermont is. I mean, they all live here. So I want them safe. I want my kids to not have to worry about who lives next door to where their daycare is or who's walking by on the school, on the school property.
Yeah, right. And it's tough because I think about my own little girl who's 11, and I think about the school events, sporting events alone. Anybody can, in Vermont, can pull into the parking lot of a school during a soccer game.
Yeah.
And go sit in the sidelines and watch a game. Anyone.
Yep.
Whether they know one of the students or a family member or not.
Yeah.
Anyone can just pull into the parking lot, walk into the school, and watch a basketball game.
Or even park in the parking lot when the school gets out. They can be there in the parking lot when your child walks by.
Yeah.
Legally.
Yeah. Like I said, very uncomfortable to talk about this.
It is.
I'm way out of my comfort level right now. I wasn't really necessarily looking forward to this episode or this discussion this morning. And I'll say this again. Anybody who can't honestly say in their gut that the protection and safety, emotional safety, physical safety, mental safety of our children should be first and foremost a priority over all other things. They're on a planet that I don't know what that planet is. And I can't even fathom what that is. I understand that Vermont has got a lot of problems. Many states do. Affordability, housing, substance use, mental health, the list, taxes, the list can go on and on. The education system, there's a long laundry list here. But by God, this topic better be at the top of the list.
Agreed.
Please. Less than 300 signatures on this petition. And man, shit, that better change. I'm going to be giving some updates on this. You're going to be in touch with me.
Yep.
And you're going to let me know. You're going to be maybe a little bit of a thorn in my side in making sure that I'm aware. Hey, we're up to however many signatures.
Perfect.
I want that information. I want to put it out there transparently for all to see, all to hear. And I also would love those names of those legislators, their emails and their phone numbers. And man, I'll blast that all over.
Absolutely.
I want cages rattled on this. I'm not looking to cause problems. I don't think you are either. I think our intentions are healthy and they're good.
Yep.
We're not trying to be a pain in the ass here. But I think most Vermonters would agree that more needs to be done.
Agreed.
To protect our children.
Mm-hmm. And there is some organizations that have trainings out there for parents. Like Prevent Child Abuse Vermont is one of the good ones. And
thank you for mentioning them, because I was thinking about them about 10 minutes ago and I had forgotten it.
Yeah, and they offer a ton of different courses, and some of them are free, and they relate to things like healthy sexual development in children. Things like how to recognize and respond to abuse online and in person, how to recognize grooming. There's all different types. And I believe that in some cases you might be able to even convince them to come do community events where the community can come and learn things like this. Can we get them on this couch? I'm not sure. I think it'd be great to.
Will you help me get them on this couch?
Although I will try.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Just got a comment here. I got to read this. And when you try to get a restraining order through the court, they deny it. And you say to the judge, I'm disappointed in them. And they say, I'm sorry you feel that way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Charity says, do be a pain in the ass in this matter. It's completely warranted.
Yep.
Great point.
Yep.
You have a lot of people watching, listening, that support this.
Yes.
Let's get some shit done here.
Absolutely.
We're just getting ready to start a legislative session.
Yeah, we got to get it in front of them.
Thank you for coming in here. I'm going to drop this petition one more friggin' time here. It's just like the 10th time I've put it in the comments, but I want to make sure that everyone sees it. We are barely scratching the surface here. There's a lot more to be said about this. You're welcome to come back anytime.
Awesome.
I hope you will come back.
Absolutely.
And give us an update on any traction that you've got, any momentum with regard to this. This state has got to freaking wake up with shit like this. We need to do more. We need to do better.
Agreed. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for coming in, Laura.
Yes.
So much. God bless you, everybody. Don't forget, tomorrow, Sweethearts and Heroes going to be on the air with us. And on Thursday, man, it's going to be interesting. G has invited me to his Christmasified living room on Thursday morning to stream live. Yes, with a hot cup of something. And a whole lot of decorations. We're going to have some fun. We're going to loosen up in a big way on Thursday. It's going to be fun. Rex will be in on Friday, hopefully. And, man, we got a lot to get to, a lot to talk about still. There is so much going on in the world right now. A lot of it is just so heavy. So heavy. It's everywhere. Take good care of one another. And listen, share this episode. If this is something that is a hot button for you, make sure people know about it. Spread this as far and wide as you can. And thanks for liking and following Aired Out. Appreciate your comments. We're always live. We're never edited. Real, raw, relevant, and relatable. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Appreciate you. Have a great rest of your day. Try to stay warm. Okay? God bless.